Hello, friends. Hey, Michel Bryant here. Welcome to my, we're in the North Pole today, actually, as a matter of fact, so I thought I'd get all the Christmas trees. No, close. We're in Dedham. And the Brian Walsh case is now officially underway. And his defense, if you haven't heard it, you're not going to believe it.
Justice, where are you? Michael and Linda are here.
Love you, Linda.
World is justice. Will we ever find justice?
The courthouse the other day in the hallway, you're singing
Will
"Oh
we
Happy
know
Day."
justice when we see it? To be and down me, I lead the way. Hoping justice will win the day. Listener clues, finding justice where we can. Join us now, we're on the run. Justice is waiting, we'll see it done.
And welcome back to Dedham. Good to have you along. Michel Bryant here, Linda, Kenny, Baden. All three of them are on assignment today. And you may know it's related to the Aiden Carney matter. That's all I can say. Otherwise, I'm in big trouble because I don't know anyway. But people would think I would know, but I don't know. So anyway, she'll be back as soon as she can. That's all I can tell you at the moment. Came up here today. First of all, this is obviously not the courthouse behind me. I got kind of bored with that shot. And this is very near the scene of a crime, though. It's right across the street from Dedham Pizza, where I've quite often been convicted of felony overeating. But it's so good. Anyway, so came up here today to get a look at the Brian Walsh case, and we are going to do just that. We're going to find out how this works. I have a feeling not so well with my my digits hanging out there, but we do have a little bit of work to do here before we get my very special guest, Ms Demeanor, is here. Hold on, though. Okay, just a quick rip and read. I thought about going to this matter maybe later in the week. We'll see how it goes. But Luigi Manion was back in court today in Manhattan. His attorney's trying to suppress a number of items that, if he had a chance in hell of suppressing, could seriously affect whether or not he would be convicted. His backpack, which had the 3D gun in there and the silencer and his manifesto, and they also have concerns over the statements he made to cops as he was surrounded in that McDonald's, and who hasn't been. So that was argued today, but it's just the beginning. They've got about 4 or 5 days worth, they believe, 20-some witnesses, all having to do with, for the prosecution, basically justifying what happened. It's a loser for the defense. I understand zealous representation. You've got to do it. It's got to preserve it for appeal. Great. Enjoy. But the fact is, they searched the backpack. There's kind of a doctrine in the law that if it's within arm's reach of law enforcement to secure the area, to make sure it is safe, they have some ability to search those areas. In this case, a backpack sitting on the table right next to him, clearly within arm's reach. And so they looked in there, and that's where they found those goods. As for the interrogation, here's the situation there. They were talking about Miranda warnings not being issued until roughly 20 minutes after they began talking to him. Well, when does Miranda kick in? Check your notes. When does Miranda kick in? Custodial interrogation. Custodial. So, is it custodial if you are at McDonald's and 4 or 5 officers are in the vicinity there? I think it's a closer argument. I still think it's a loser. The bottom line is, do you think that you are free to go? Are you in custody? You don't have to be in the cop shop or in the back of a squad car to be in custody. You can be in custody at McDonald's. I just don't think in this scenario it was custodial. But that's going to be the argument, that it was, in fact, custodial, which means, of course, Miranda must kick in. And if it did not kick in, and it should have, then those statements would be suppressed. So we'll see how that unfolds as the week continues. I may still go down there toward the end of the week. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, again, Linda off on assignment, but I am proud and frozen to add to the mix here. Ms Demeanor. Janet, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. First thing she says when she sees me, you look cold. I don't know what cold looks like. This is it. I guess this is it. It's actually not bad. There's no breeze. It is probably mid-30s, but yeah, it's all right.
That's cold to me.
Look at these.
It's beautiful there.
It is. Look at that. It's a winter wonderland without the snow, which they say might be coming tomorrow.
I heard that.
This is going to be kind of on the dividing line. If I were back in my weatherman days, I would be talking about inversion layers, and 95 is going to be apparently the dividing line. So east of that, meaning mostly coastal, warm enough it'll be just rain. Go further west of that, and as you get up into the hills and the hinterlands, temperature will drop and they'll get some snow. So I think we're going to be all right. That's just my guess. It'll be a little wet, but not frozen. So,
well, I am in no way a comparison to Linda Baden. So I will do my best to fill those very enormous shoes in a compact body.
Well, make sure you get the right brand of shoes. I'm not sure if they're
I understand.
Jimmy Choo's or
I'm bougie. I heard a lot of brand names come out in this trial today, and
that was
I am passing no judgment on that. I saw a lot in the chat about it, but no judgment from Ms Demeanor here, because I love a good brand name myself. So
yeah, it was, and it may become an issue in this case, not just perception. And we're talking about the Brian Walsh case, obviously, and Anna Walsh's accoutrement, her various accessories. Some of them will be presented, or at least pictures of them will be presented at trial, because they were found in some of the various dumping locations. So, then we'll learn. I'm confident we will learn. Well, how many of those exist? That necklace. I think there is a necklace involved. How many of those exist in the world? Well, obviously doesn't mean anything, because there are 22,000 of them, or whatever it may be. So let me, before we dive into some of the specifics, thoughts on day one.
That was rough. It was really rough. I opening statements I was good with. I'm hanging in with both of them. I'm like, all right, yeah, getting some little tidbits. This is good. And then they started all the video or the audio. Yeah. Oh, sweet Mary and Joseph. I was like, my eyes are glazing. I'll guarantee you I missed a bunch of probably really important information.
I gave up.
I just
at a certain point, and I think the jury did too, unfortunately, because I could tell when they zoned out, when they went from disinterested to comatose. And I just question the prosecution. I understand practically and procedurally how they want to use these interviews to kind of get the lay of the land, introduce the defendant to the jury. But man, it's just even if I just did one of the interviews, right? They're local cops. It's not like they're flying them in from somewhere. Do one of the interviews, whet the jury, the audience's appetite, and then get some more warm bodies in there and start working it out. Guess what's going to happen tomorrow? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's funny you say that, because I, of course, am no attorney myself. But as a juror sitting and watching it, all I could think of is, why the heck wouldn't you split up this deputy? I think he was a deputy, or was he a sergeant? Schmidt, anyway. Why wouldn't you split up his testimony and not make us sit through an entire day of just brutal, awful audio of Brian Walsh just droning on in his... Yeah, well, we'll get into him, I'm sure.
He and the first one was the best. And then it got worse after that. When Michael Proctor identified himself, that was a little interesting nugget, because that voice is sort of triggering. But he apparently had very little to do with the interview, except sitting there like a pompous idiot, which he does very well. So the question, one of the questions I had with regard to those audio tapes was, do they have? I was looking at the jury and I was trying to see, and I couldn't confirm before they kicked me out of the courthouse, whether they had transcripts. I think they did. Either that, or
that would make a difference.
That would help for a while.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
Then, I mean, drivel is drivel, whether you're hearing it or reading it. And I don't know if these guys, it was primarily the sergeant on the stand at the time, Detective Schmidt, whether the idea was, let this guy just drone on, just let's, when this becomes important, like a trial, let people see what a kind of what an interesting dude this guy is. And now, in retrospect, knowing what he's admitted to doing, these are interviews 3 to 4 days later, and he's cool as a cucumber.
That's what was so mind-blowing to me, is the jury doesn't know this, but we do. We know he's already admitted, and they kind of alluded to it in the defense's opening statement, that they're not arguing the fact that she was deceased, and they kind of laid it down. But when you think about that and you see how flippant he is in all of what he discusses, and
a lot
and
of
the kids
there's
are
way too
running
much
around,
giggling for having just shredded your wife. It's just
it
it's
is
just,
beyond for me. I don't think these audios are going to bode well for him. I saw him numerous times kind of nodding his head, listening to himself talk, and I was like, oh, sir, oh no, sir, don't do that. That is not going to help you.
and I'm telling you, assuming that these 16 jurors had no clue about the case, assuming if they knew anything, it was a quick headline. When they started hearing some of the detail that the defense opening statement provided, they started
Yes.
looking at him, and my perception was they started looking at him very differently, that more scrutinizing and trying to get inside the guy's head, because now they've heard the defense. And that was the big shocker, the defense saying, oh, by the way, she was dead. And
Yeah,
he just
we know
freaked
that.
out. He just freaked out.
Yeah.
I'd never heard that. I'd never guessed that was going to be the position they'd take. It's
Never.
a desperation move, I'll tell you that. But what else are you going to do? What else? When
Well-
your guy has admitted to disappearing your wife, who's still missing,
He
and
probably
presumed
should have
dead.
taken a plea if they offered one. Did
Well,
they offer
can't.
one?
They can't do that in Massachusetts. You can't plead to malice murder.
Really?
Yeah. So
What a colossal waste of money.
yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Way to go, Mass.
Well, it's Massachusetts, so they have their own way of many things.
Yes, indeed.
So,
they do.
so does that put them in a box and they just have no choice but to go forward? And defense says, "Hey, I got an idea. You nudged her to death." That's what happened. And that whole story, which really unfolded for the first time in opening statement, he nudged her once. She didn't respond. About 1:30 in the morning of the new year, 1/1/23. Nudged her again. No, still didn't. Then nudged her and she falls off the bed. That's a lot of nudging, and it's very intense nudging, if true.
And I don't understand, because so far most of what we're hearing is that she was in very good physical shape. So that makes it even more difficult to try to say that she had some sort of health issue. This is feeling very Chad Daybellish to me.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
Chad Daybellish
yeah,
to me.
without the dark spirits.
Yes, but yeah, she passed away.
Well,
I don't know what
that's why they
happened.
call it, Janet. They call it an unexplained death. So
Exactly.
now you go. Yeah,
Unfortunately, it's not unattended.
that's probably very true. I've decided it's going to be like SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. This is going to be unintended death syndrome. It's a whole, or unexplained death syndrome. So this happens, and he's shocked. They've tried to give a little bit of credibility to the fact that she might have had some medical condition that just blew up. She wasn't feeling well on the 27th, whatever that means, and she had a cancer scare, is how it was described. Now, I'm sure we're going to get some medical records to help flesh that out. I don't know if a cancer scare is, boy, you don't have cancer, but you have a lot of markers, or yes, you do have cancer, but it's a relatively curable version. I don't know what cancer scare means, but they've planted the seed, I believe, to hope this jury says, oh, see, she had some kind of obscure health issues, and on that night, boom, that's what happened.
I'm very anxious to hear about this cancer situation. As a cancer survivor myself, I would hate to think that you just that quick drop dead on New Year's Day, because it was the new year, for, I guess, no other reason. And I'm very anxious and curious to see how the defense is going to weave this tale of why he panicked. Why on earth would you panic if your spouse that you love has passed away unexplainedly, and your panic is, you know, I'm not going to call 911. I'm not going to report this. How about I dismember her body? That's
Yeah.
what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to handle this. I don't understand. Like that's a big mountain to climb. And I love Mr. Tipton, but that's a mountain.
Yeah, that is a tough sell. And again, desperation may be the motive. I don't know. So this happens somehow, allegedly, that night. And 3 days later, he gets a hold of the cops. And all of these interviews begin at that time, 3 days after he has disappeared his wife, because I'm not quite sure how it all happened. I think we're going to be led to believe by the prosecution that there was a dismemberment. But there's so little evidence of anything but cleanup, not the actual mechanism.
Well, isn't that part of the disinterment thing that he pled to? Is at least that is the feeling I have always gotten, is that included some sort of dismemberment piece.
It's an odd statute, not surprisingly, the way it's worded, because just if you look at the definition of disinterment, it would be to dig somebody up.
Exactly. Right.
Well, how do you get to that if there's no evidence of a body or interring somebody before you disinter them? So
exactly.
I don't know where it's going that way, but getting rid of the body is probably the broadest understanding of what they say he did. He got rid of the body. And we'll see. We've got the hacksaw has already been talked about. It's coming in.
Yeah.
There was a bone fragment on it that may or may not be proven to be human bone. All of those things that I thought, by pleading to the lesser charge of the disinterment, whatever that is, might have been limited somehow. And I know they've been fighting about it pre-trial. They were fighting all about it. But this judge, Judge Frenary, who, as we all know, has great hair.
Typical man.
And she
does have good hair.
She does, yeah. And so she allowed all of the evidence in of any sort of data that extended the consent for the phones and the other electronic items that were searched. She decided those things would have been found inevitably, therefore they're all in. So with that mindset, I figured all of these issues that might be finally diced up because of the two charges he pled guilty to, they're probably coming in too, and let the appeals court deal with it. I think that's maybe a possibility. What do you think about that?
I was actually surprised that they were given as much leeway in openings to bring in. I mean, they're tap dancing right on the edge of just saying he pled guilty to two of the charges. I was very surprised by that. I'm interested to see how the Commonwealth is going to have everything unfold, because I don't have a lot of confidence in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts when it comes to trying cases. So I'm anxious for that. I want evidence. And I also am curious about, there was talk about the pool today, there
was more than talk about it. It was the creature from the Green Lagoon. It was a nasty looking pool. But again, we're talking about January.
I know, but it had water in it, and
it had some water, yeah,
and then it didn't. And so I have questions. Like,
well, it was very vague about when it was first seen and described versus when the picture was taken, which clearly had water drained from it. I don't know. You're right. I'm anxious to find out exactly what the time frame is.
That's hard to do. It takes some time,
Yeah, it does.
As a pool owner myself, I can tell you, it takes a hot second especially to get that much water out of there at that time of year.
Yeah. I mean, it's not something, the pool didn't look massive, but it's going to take a few hours at the very least. So I don't know, and that's one pump with a garden hose. So put a few in there. It's quicker. I don't know, but it's a good point.
And why? That's the part I don't understand. Unless he had stuff in there that he needed to retrieve to get rid of, because they're on the path, on the trail, so to speak.
And they did drag, some claw machine or something to see if there was anything in the pool, and they found nothing. But that's, even for this guy, that seems to be extremely stupid to just throw stuff in the backyard pool. I mean, that's really not.
He
very
did do
bright.
like a bazillion searches on his electronic devices. So are
Yes,
we
he
really
did.
talking about a
Yes, he
pillar
did.
of intellect here?
Well, he was freaking out. You know, there was
Yeah,
the
before
it
she
the
was
freak
even
out factor.
dead.
Yeah, he had a pre-freak. It was a pre-freak. Okay, let's. I want to listen to just a moment of this. Let me see if I can get this right without my normal utensils that I have back at home. Are you hearing this? Or can you hear the audio? Okay.
Brian Walsh lied to the police. Lied to him on January 4th, lied to him on January 5th, lied to him on January 7th.
He's a liar.
We knew that.
Brian Walsh went to Lowe's and bought tools. Brian Walsh went to Home Depot and bought tools. Brian Walsh, beginning about 4:54 a.m., began a frantic and tragic search that you'll hear about. You'll hear the evidence of that. You will hear evidence that those searches evolved from how best to dispose a body to even darker subject matter. As he wrestled with the fact that Anna Walsh was dead. That evidence that you will hear will be hard to understand, but it is true. On January 1st of 2023, Jim Mutlow left the family home of Brian and Anna Walsh sometime between 1 and 1:30 in the morning.
I just want to hear the nudge.
Anna and Brian Walsh continued to celebrate the news. They went upstairs to the bedroom. About an hour later, you'll hear evidence that Mr. Walsh got up, went back down the stairs to clean the kitchen. You'll see evidence that he looked at his email. You'll hear evidence that he then returned to the bedroom, intending nothing more than to crawl into bed with Anna Walsh, the woman he loved. When he entered the bedroom and began to get into the bed, he sensed something was wrong. You will hear evidence that it made no sense to him. But he nudged Anna, his wife. She didn't respond. He nudged her again, a little harder. She didn't respond. He nudged her now in a frantic and panic reaction to where she actually rolled off the bed. You'll hear evidence that now he is panicking and he doesn't understand what has happened and what is happening.
Oh, and that makes a lot of us. We don't understand what's happening here either.
I
But
don't
I
have
give
any
him credit
idea.
for selling it.
I mean, what are you going to do? If you're the defense attorney, that's why I say I adore him, because he's doing his job. That's what he's supposed to do. I don't have any opposition to that. I don't believe it. And yes, I mean, he's a convicted, Brian Walsh is a convicted liar multiple times, because he was going to have to spend time for all the fraud he committed with the art. That's all lying. So yeah. I mean, we can't really believe anything he says.
That's, and you know, again, zealous representation, that's key. I was going to try and show, again, it's trickier here when I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and I mean that in the nicest way. I can't get to some of my pictures here, but first thing when I saw Tipton in action, I thought, that guy reminds me of somebody, and see if I can open this up. This is very tricky. It's very much beyond my skill set, but let me see if I can find it here. Picture him again and just think about, what does he look like? Is it somebody I've seen before somewhere? Well, since I can't seem to pull it up, we'll all have to just use our memories and use our think to a movie. Oh, there it is. It's there. Oh, now it's gone. There it is.
It was a
There
tease.
There it is. Does that look like Mr. Tipton to you?
Totally, totally.
And
Say
we know who
the
it is, of course.
blessing.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Christmas Vacation. His name is.
Love it.
Doggone it. I should at least remember his name if I'm going to throw him into the mix here. I'll find it for you. Or Missy will find it. Let's throw it at Missy. I can't find it now. Anyway, that was the first person I thought of when I saw him in action today. He was with the arms crossed and he was really, doing it.
I absolutely believe that Brian Walsh is guilty because this is preposterous. But I believe everyone has a right to a defense. If I believe in our judicial system, then and I am all for Mr. Tipton and all that he is bringing. I saw someone in the chat said that, you have to keep an open mind. No, ma'am, I do not have to keep an open mind.
Mine was
I am
open,
not
but
on the jury.
I look at it two different ways. I look at it as, I had an open mind until I started seeing the evidence that I expect to come into trial. But from a human standpoint, that's what the jury's going to do. They're going to do the exact same thing. I can look at it as an attorney or as a court observer and say, okay, this has to play out. That's the way the system works. William Hickey, thank you so much. Yes, William Hickey or Mr. Tipton. So I get it. And sometimes I don't want to use the word fun, but it's a nice mental challenge to divorce yourself from what you believe and say, okay, let's watch this play out. Let's look at the evidence objectively. Let's not immediately say this guy did it just because we think so, because we've heard so much up to this point.
I'm all there. I on my channel, that's what we are. I am the foreman and everybody on my channel is on my jury. That's what we do. So because I don't have a legal background. And so that's the perspective we come in as just your average person.
And that's great. Because sometimes attorneys get a little,
live in that vacuum a little bit. And so we just kind of talk about it like regular people. And at this point, I'm sitting on a jury. I already have a ton of questions because this man's behavior in these interviews is bizarre. It is off the charts. Like Donna Adelson's bizarre. These are completely devoid of emotion.
He was declared incompetent for about a month, right? Now, that's not a mental problem, but it is an analysis that says, can he understand the charges against him? And is he able to assist in his defense? That's the criteria.
Correct.
And once the court determined that he was and that he is, trial began almost like a week later, they started picking the jury. So he may have some personality quirks. If somebody were to mentally, go to the DSM-5, I think we're on now. Is it 5? Do you know? DSM-5, 4, 4
I think it
7?
Is 5.
I think it is 5 too. They're always redoing it. I think they could probably find a few things in there that apply to him, right?
Absolutely. The laughing and the giggling and the not having the children, under control for such a grave conversation to have, that would be, for me as a juror sitting on that jury, that would start to play in my mind. And I think what you're talking about, because when I was at Donna Adelson, I watched the jury a lot. And they all, as far as I can tell, all juries do this. They get to a certain point. This is very early for this point to happen, by the way. And they start going, you did that? You said that? This is you behaving this way? It changes things. as you're sitting on a jury and you start judging, because that's your job as a jurist.
Sure. I mean,
is to
he
judge.
sits there like any defendant. He sits there cloaked with innocence, but that cloak could be yanked off like a tablecloth on a magic trick. It
Yes.
can disappear if they see something that changes their mind so quickly. And, and I did see them really scrutinize him after hearing the defense opening, that part that we just heard, and then some of these interviews. Oh, you're going to like this. Hold on, here we go. Super vouch for Ms Demeanor. Love her channel. That is Cat Not Williams. We love Cat Not Williams as well.
Absolutely. I love Cat Not Williams.
She's very busy.
Yes, she is.
Oh, here, let's do this so that people can find you. There's your thing. So
yeah, I don't think appeals are made
that.
for walking is going to be following me anytime soon.
What
and ironically, I have been a juror.
Oh,
I've been a juror on a civil case. I've been a juror on a criminal case. And I have participated in 2 mock juries as well.
Wow.
So,
you're a professional.
No, it's super important that if you want to, if you're not an attorney, a lawyer, be a part of the process. Find something locally that you can be a part of. And of course, Kelly in Texas says, and I am the jury foreman on my channel. Yeah. So. But yeah, it's a fascinating experience. I was very young when I was on a criminal and a civil trial. And it was, within the year that I sat on a mock trial.
Wow.
On 2 mock trials.
Was that for like some sort of big corporate lawsuit or something, or what?
They were both personal injury cases,
Okay.
and one was very, very large.
Okay.
I haven't followed to see if it's gone to trial and what the outcome was. I should.
Yeah. The reason I wondered about corporate or otherwise is it's not cheap to put together a mock jury.
Yes.
So it had to be a decent sized case. Thanks to Jazz M38 YouTube member. We appreciate that. I was gonna ask you another question because that's what I'm supposed to do.
Well, and I had questions too because again, I'm not there, and I remember what Adelson was like seeing the jury. So they glazed over and they checked out this late in the afternoon because I know I did.
Yeah, I mean, I think they really tried. Early on, there were notes being taken, and clearly they were attentive. And then when they got to the second and the third, that last chunk, you come back just after 2-ish, and it's about a 2-hour chunk without a break. On balance, I think it's a very manageable court day. On balance, normal day where you've got people coming and going, new witnesses, not so much today when you're ending the day with the droning of a poorly recorded audio. I couldn't keep track of some of the people that were just piping up, and his voice was the only one you could sort of hear, and you had to kind of back into whatever the question was based on his answer because you couldn't hear the question very well. I really question that tactic. But guess what's happening tomorrow? This is where I'm calling it Walsh collides with Karen Reed. It is Guarino is coming in tomorrow.
He is Trooper. Kill me, or what did he say? Kill me, please, or please kill me. He's Trooper. Please kill me. Don't you remember in Karen Reed in season 1? He was literally on the stand and he goes, "Kill me now." Yeah. So I call him Trooper. Kill me now.
Trooper, kill me. Okay. All right. We'll see if he's learned by his mistakes. But he's the digital guy, so he's going to come in and talk digital. And we know what that's all about. We know some of it will slop over into the material that the defense was trying to suppress by a motion to eliminate, but it's all in. He'll start connecting all the dots, and we'll see. Hopefully he'll get their attention. Yeah, Scott McGinnis, we'll see. Good old St. Nick Guarino. 'Tis the season. Yeah, so we'll see.
At least that'll be like actual evidence coming in instead of just listening to Brian Walsh.
And a human.
Talking in such an odd way.
If those interviews had been video, it would have been better. But somebody pointed out when I was doing the lunchtime thing, all of a sudden we have recording devices in the in the local police. None of them
I was
for the
shocked.
Karen Reed case, but apparently they do have some in the back room somewhere.
Like,
Somebody
who
found them.
knew we could record interviews in Massachusetts? Holy smokes!
Yep.
Didn't
Still,
see that one
of course,
coming.
I mean, they were done at his house, so it would have been tough to set up something beyond a recorder. But they could have called him in. He was he was Mr. Helpful, so I'm sure he would have come
everything. In. He's the talker.
Yes, he is. He's what's the word I'm looking for? He's just very helpful. He just wants to help. If you don't even have a question, he'll tell you something.
Absolutely, because he's that kind of a guy.
So today,
I'm super anxious for the digital evidence.
Yeah, I normally that would be one of the less interesting parts of any testimony because it gets a little. But after today, give it to me. I'll take it.
We're going to be like gnawing on a bone tomorrow. Happy we've got something.
Is a human being talking about digital information. But compared to today, it'll be amazing.
So, and what do you think? Oh,
go ahead. I'm taking a side route. So go ahead. Let's.
Well, I kind of was too. What do you think Mom's role is in all of this?
Interesting. You should ask that question. Almost like you knew what I was about to do. I'm
like that, Michael.
We know that she too is very helpful, like paying some bills and things when it was not what they could do. I mean, I guess before Anna got the big promotion and Brian was still not working outside the home because he's a stay-at-home dad. I'm cool with that. That's great. But they're having some issues and Mom was apparently paying for rent and things like that. Right.
And yes. And I had seen someone, or I don't know if there was a comment made or something, but it's possible that Mom was footing the bill and they were paying Mom. And this is in defense of their situation, because I used to work in lending. And if I knew when I was underwriting a loan that this individual that is an applicant and soon to be a borrower was going to be incarcerated for a period of time and no longer have means to repay the loan, they're not getting a loan from me.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if that may have played into why Mom was a part of all of that.
We may hear that.
Give some forgiveness on that.
We may hear that. Anyway. And it's also part of the argument that we're going to hear that the divorce conversation was for the same reason. If he's going to be going up the river, he wants to disconnect himself from the family, from the assets, from anything that might hurt the family. And so divorce that was on paper. The only reason, just to get a paper divorce, keeps it clean. So even somebody in your former life, you would understand the importance of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I can remember specifically in my lending time, I had an approved loan. They were supposed to come in to sign the papers on it. And I saw on the news the night before that the woman who was running a daycare, a child lost their life in her daycare. And that prior day. And I'm like, oh, you're not going to have a daycare to pay me back. No loan for you.
Yeah, that's
no soup for you.
No soup for you. Yeah, that's tough to justify when that's the job is to take care of the kids. So
yeah.
So I, of course, had the opportunity to talk to Mom.
Oh boy,
let's
spill the tea,
ma'am. Michel Bryant with Justice Served TV. Have they told you when you might testify? How are you doing? Have a good night.
She's not a talker.
That went well. That went well. And who knows? I'm talking to the back of her head. Maybe I had the wrong person. No, I'm sure it's the right person. Because I was sitting in court. And she was right in front of me. And I've seen her, the folks shooting the trial and all the pretrial stuff were fixated on her a lot. I saw in
pretrial hearings, she was feverishly taking notes.
Yes. Gotta be in Dedham. Gotta be in Dedham.
Massachusetts, if you don't have some sirens while you're trying to talk.
That's engine number 4, one of the more popular engines. wait, we'll see the paramedics anytime now soon, I'm sure. So, so anyway, what was I going to say? Something about her
taking notes in pretrial is what.
That's it. You remember there was a point during some of the pretrial motions that the court was informed that she was in the courtroom, and
yes,
and Judge Frenier basically said, "Do you want to do something about that?" And nobody would.
Yeah, like get her out of here.
Yeah, like oh well, sorry, because well, first there was confusion about whether she was on the witness list or not, and then it was confirmed that it was on one list and not the other. Blah blah blah. Well, now we know, and she's still sitting there.
She's still sitting
and
there.
Finally, the judge, in the nicest way possible, shooed her away. She did come back a little later, so maybe it was subject specific. I can't remember, but obviously she's there now.
Yeah,
and we'll see. Yeah. And she's listed as a witness, and we have every belief she will be a witness. So there are exceptions made for family members, etc., and that's probably why she's sitting there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see and hear all of the witnesses come in and all the little bits and pieces to see, because this is such a circumstantial case. And because it's such a circumstantial case, they're really going to have to, put the breadcrumbs out for the jury.
Yeah.
And I want to see how that is all going to come. The boyfriend in DC and the friends that were at the New Year's party and the mom and this friend that he talked to about his cell phone. And give me all the tea.
Yep. Well, I'm confident we'll both be there for it. And Thursday is the fast out day. Boyfriend fast out is Thursday.
Oh, is it? Okay.
That's what they're targeting right now.
I will try to clear
tomorrow
my
they
calendar.
might go a little bit short depending on weather, because if it's going to turn into a sloppy evening, she wants to get people a head start getting out of there. But who knows whether that's going to, again, I'm betting on rain, not snow. So hopefully that'll be the case and we won't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and as long as it doesn't drop in temperature, that's when it gets dicey. My Michigan days, I remember, the temperature dropping, and then you've got a mess because you have ice and
yes. Well, fingers
impassable.
crossed that it stays just away for just a little bit longer. It's only December 1st. Come on, not normally an issue this early in the season. It's not even winter yet. I think they call it meteorological winter today. That's what.
Well, you would know.
1st. Yeah, I never got my meteorological seal. That was before they required it. Obviously, obviously, I didn't need one to do it. What was I going to ask you again? I had such a great question. This was so weird. I walk up the stairs, and this is on the second floor. It's the big courtroom. They call it the main courtroom. 25 is the Judge Bev crime scene for both Karen Reed cases. I don't know why they call it 25. There's not 25 courtrooms in the building. But anyway, I see Yuri, not Nicholas. I did not see Nicholas Guarino. Yuri Buchanan standing.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, that would be an interest. I would have rather started with him if you wanted to get people going. At least he's entertaining, even if he's full of shit. So I see him standing there. And I'm thinking, interesting. Maybe they're doing something like that. Or maybe they have a series of law enforcement. They're just going to bang through a bunch of them. Before the jury comes in, after they've done a little bit of housekeeping with the attorneys, they did some stipulations on some of the other evidence. They come in, it's he and 4 of his associates, who I didn't even write down their names. I was kind of just waiting to see what happened. And it was just really for the judge to acknowledge them. I don't even know what that means or why it's important. Is it like going to the principal's office and you're told, I know you're now going to testify. Don't mess up. I don't understand.
I think, do they have to report and be present?
It seems like that because they got all dressed up, ready for, their Sunday best. And they just announced their names and then see you later, Judge.
Yeah, very, very weird to see that. And yes, I do believe one of them was DeChico. Yuri was on the end. And I think DeChico was either next to him or one over, and then there was a female and then another male on the very end, if I remember correctly, at least from what the camera showed.
Yeah, and that camera, just to give people perspective, if you open the doors and you walk into the courtroom, jury is on the right side. And that's where the camera is. The camera is just before the jury box, shooting kind of diagonally then toward the defendant and then the court and the bench, right? The gallery is stacked up two different sides. I think it holds probably 60 people, maybe 65 people, evenly divided pews, friends of the bride, friends of the groom. And then you have court personnel directly across from the jury, and you'll probably see them occasionally as the camera's moving in and out and around. And so from that perspective, Yuri was closest to the camera, and then the other folks were lined up to his left. So
I had a question about the courtroom, and now I've lost it. Oh my goodness.
It's catching.
It's contagious. I am unfamiliar with any of those courtrooms. Obviously, I've not ever been up there. I do see that Scott said they have to do that because they're no longer detectives and no longer in the DA office. They have to appear before the judge.
I'll take Scott's word for it. It's bizarre. Could all of them be either removed or on administrative leave, and if so,
you really have to ask that question.
Why wasn't Proctor there? There is still a question as to whether he's going to testify. I'm sure if I'm the prosecution, I'm doing everything I can to avoid him testifying. And if today's interviews were any taste of what he was really doing, overtly, he was one of the lead investigators. But let's face it, Karen Reed too, they got by with no lead investigator, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they don't need him here either.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I know what I was going to ask you. Is the courtroom full?
No, it's
really.
I guessed about half full or half empty, depending on how you want to look at it. Plenty of room, not a problem. And I would say it was of that number, half were press, and then very.
Did you see anybody from Adelson that was also up there covering that?
As I'm picturing the rows of folks. Not unless I'm just not familiar enough with those that I might have bumped into down in Adelson. I don't see any crossover, except I'm trying to remember. Matt is there for Court TV. He covered all the Karen Reed stuff. He did not go to Florida, so I didn't see him at both places. It was a different reporter down there in Florida. So no, I don't think there are any crossovers. Yeah.
Oh, and Dizzy's asking, is there anyone for Anna? Is there any family?
Well, it's hard to tell because if they are, then they're on that side of the courtroom, which is the jury. I call the jury side,
sure,
and the prosecution side. I am on the defense side just because I get a better angle at the jury.
Oh yeah,
and so it's much more like there's four of us. I think the whole plus, there's mom, and then there are two people right next to her. And I've just got to ask who they are, which is never my favorite way of doing it. Hey,
who
the
are
hell
you?
The hell are you doing here? But they are about the same age as mom. Maybe they're just family friends supporting mom. I'm not sure. But then there's just like two other people, me and another guy behind me.
Really? So
and then everybody else is on the bride side. Yeah.
And so there's nobody except for mom for Brian then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. How interesting.
And these two people that must be somehow connected.
Sure.
But yeah, I would say, most of the press is over on the other side. So there's not even a lot of room for other people, but I'm sure those are the supporters.
Sure.
That are there for Anna. I mentioned this in a post earlier today that there were 3 members of the press that were in the front row, right side. So near as the jury you could be. It's like probably 7-8 feet away. And the judge, when they had their first break, said, you folks in the press right there, I think you're trying to transcribe what's happening. Well, no, they're just doing their notes, right? She said, I can't, I don't know. You're that close to the jury. It's bothering me what you're doing. And it was the nails click-clacking on the keyboards of their computers. I'm sorry, not a sexist comment. It just happened to be.
clickety-click.
Do you? Let me see your nails. Yeah, you can clack with those. Yeah. So it's not me.
Typical man.
It
You
was
are a typical man.
It was
Come on.
3 women, and then one of them. So she had to relocate, and she's like, now she's next to me, and I'm getting the clickety clack, clickety clack.
Yeah. And I type fast, so it would be like a lot of clickety clicking. Yeah.
it's
I
a
had an
lot.
employee once that was like, I just can't stand that sound. I'm like, that sounds like that's a you problem.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you over my nails clacking. What?
But of course, if you're in the court, it becomes your own problem.
I never gave it a thought until the judge pointed it out. So clearly, maybe in her elevated perch, as sound rises through the building, maybe she's just sensitive to it. I don't know, but it was bizarre. I've never seen that kind of forced relocation before.
She has some quirks about her.
Yeah.
I've noticed, like, in some of the pre-trial hearings that I've watched, she's got some little quirks about her. She seems very professional, and so far what I've seen has been pretty fair. I don't see her kind of tipping the scale one way or the other. She seems to have the same demeanor with both the Commonwealth and the defense for the most part, as much as any judge is going to be, because they always favor the prosecution.
Of course.
So,
and I think she's more let it in than keep it out. She's more interested in let's let it all fly.
Transparency. Yes, she said it.
Unless it's really going to come back to bite her, because judges are great, but they want to protect their record, and they don't like to be reversed on appeal. So there's going to be a point at which she's thinking, that's a closer call. Maybe I don't let that in. Maybe keeps it from being reversed on appeal. So, but I agree with you. I think she does seem to be fair. She's very personable, which I think is
very
good
much so. Yeah, she seems very easy to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Dedham and the wee woos again.
Yep.
Where are you exactly? With
This
all
is
the Christmas
most
lights
importantly
and
right
everything?
across from Dedham Pizza, and then the pastry shop is right there. So this is like calorie central. It's a little teeny park that's in the daytime you can see the Golden Dome from the courthouse behind me.
Yes.
Just a little, just in the not so far distance there. But
Well,
dark.
Donna would disapprove of all the carbs in that area.
Oh yes, yeah. I
She's,
mean,
not
so do
a
I. I
fan of the
disapprove as
carbs.
often as I can. That's how I disapprove. But I would, I'm normally over across from the courthouse at the Hall of Records, which is right across the street, where a lot of the mainstream media do their thing. But it's dark, so this just seems to be much prettier. So.
Yes, it's beautiful there.
Yeah.
It really does look beautiful. And if there was a light dusting of snow, enough that you could track a cat, it would be even prettier.
That's right. And it could happen, before this trial is over with. It could happen.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to let you go because I know you've got, you're a very important person. You're stacking up interviews. Where can people see you after 7 o'clock?
They need to go to my channel, Ms Demeanor, because we're going to be talking for a short period of time with Lauren Conlon about the Major League Baseball scandal. I know nothing about it, so I'm hoping that she's going to give me a good debriefing. And then we're doing a deep dive into Mark Sanchez.
Oh, yeah.
So,
okay, so I see the theme. I see the theme.
It's a sports theme tonight.
Let me give you a tip on the baseball thing. There's one of the pitchers. His last name is Clase, pronounced Clase. He is one of the pitchers accused in the gambling scheme. So yeah, keep that in mind. A little tip for you. So.
Oh, thank you for that. Yeah. And then Friday, I am starting a replay, Friday evening, a replay of the Holly Bobo trial from 2017. And because Zach Adams is requesting post-conviction relief, right. And there's a lot there. There's a lot of meat on the bone there.
Yeah,
so
that was a crazy case. I remember it well. I was at Long Crime at the time, and it was, after you get past the name, because Holly Bobo sounds, kind of like a light name for a very serious trial. So,
yeah. So that's what I'm doing. So yeah,
cool.
Come on over. Happy to have you.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Janet. Always a pleasure. I will tell Linda that you saved her ass again. So.
Don't tell her that.
Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Bye. All right, then. I'm going to wrap it up here in my Christmas tree wonderland. Tomorrow, there's going to be about 30 minutes-ish more. I know you couldn't get enough of those recorded interviews today, but it's going to be about 30, 35 minutes more of that. So Sergeant Schmidt will be back on the stand just to sit there and try to stay awake with the rest of us. And then will be Nicholas Corino. We'll get into the cell phone location data material, and we'll see where this thing goes. So I may check in tomorrow before we go live with the stream. I may just join you at lunch. But either way, I appreciate you being here tonight, and we will see you tomorrow for more of the extravagance that has become the Brian Walsh case. So have a great night. I'm Michael Bryant. This is Justice Served TV, and please try to do the right thing.